Thank you so much. So my name is Tracy Dombrowski. I work with Mike Anderson at Collision Advice, and a lot of the times I write the song, but I let him sing it. So thank you so much for having me here today. I really appreciate it. So a lot of our speakers today have been talking about culture, and so I'm up here to talk about culture as well. So when I started, whoops, wrong way. When I first heard culture, I was like, what? What do they mean by culture? Like what is it? What are you talking about? So this image is what we're typically talking about when we talk about culture, right? We're saying like a business needs leadership. They need values. They need trust in their people. They need teamwork, maybe a mission statement or a vision statement, right? All of those things are important. All of those things are totally true, but they're absolutely useless as a tool, right? Like if someone asks you, how do you get a better business culture? We literally just say, well, do all of these things better, right? It's totally useless as a tool to get better. But yet it's such a huge irony because culture is such a huge part of what we do, and it affects the success of our businesses, as we've talked about today. And I keep doing that. So you've heard the saying, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, right? And that's what we're really saying when we say a business has a strong business culture, right? We're talking about those sports teams that hire like average players, but yet year over year win the championship. That's what we're talking about, right? That's what is the magic of culture is. But how much is it really worth to your business? Why are all of these people talking about culture today? Well, a team at Harvard asked the same question. So they took 10 businesses that were exactly the same, 10 body shops. The only difference between these businesses was their culture. And they scored them. One was a low culture, 10 was a strong culture. And they followed these businesses over 10 years. And what they found was that the net revenue of the strong cultured businesses outperformed the weak cultured businesses by 756%. 756%, that's huge, right? The relationship between performance and culture is more than a mere coincidence. That's why we're here talking about it today. But implementing a strong culture in your business is not easy. And so I want to share a story about Collision Advice in our team. So in the last couple years, we've grown significantly. And a few years ago, we had hired maybe 3 or 4 brand new people. We were having our first team meeting face-to-face with these new people. And they didn't know us. Right? And the meeting started off fine. We talked about the industry, much like you do at SEMA. We talked about the strength of Collision Advice, some of the things we wanted to accomplish. And it wasn't until the end of the first day that we thought, okay, let's get some input from the team. And our leader threw out a question to the group. What should we focus on next year? And I thought we were having a brainstorming session. But Mike led off with one of his ideas, what he thought we should focus on. And then when he finished, I quickly jumped in with my idea. Granted, it was an idea, not a plan. I didn't know how to execute it. I didn't know what it was going to cost. I had not planned. It was an idea. I thought we were going to throw things at a board, see what stuck. So when I threw out my idea, he immediately turned at me and started questioning me. Well, how are you going to make that happen? And I tried to answer as best I could, but I really didn't have very great answers. It was just an idea. And the harder he asked and the more he pushed, the more I was like getting frustrated and it was getting tense in the room, right? And eventually I said what all women say when they're very frustrated. I said, never mind. Never mind, right? Let's just drop the idea. And so, as you can imagine, the room was very tense. Funny enough, nobody else offered any ideas about what we should focus on next year. And we ended up calling the meeting for the day. It was the end. We said, let's meet up in an hour or two and we'll have dinner. And so we walked out of the room. Around the same time, I had the opportunity to read a book called The Culture Code by Daniel Coyle. And I want to share some of the key tips that I took away from this book with you today about how to create a strong culture in your work environments. So, one of the things Daniel Coyle says is that one of the critical moments in your culture is when you bring new people on board. That's when they want to see what you're made of, right? So, another thing, or the first lesson Daniel Coyle says, is that you need to focus on the importance of safety and connection with your team. That's key number one. Now, I've known and worked with Mike Anderson for over 20 years. I know the intent of his heart. I know he would never try to embarrass me, put down my ideas, make me look bad. He didn't want to fight with me, right? That's not who he is as a person. So literally, it took us like 5 minutes after the meeting to hash it out and be on the same page, and we're good. We're moving on. Well, like I said, we had 4 new employees that day. And one of those was my brother. So I had some insight into what he was thinking as we drove to dinner. And so he started asking me a bunch of questions like this. Is it okay to share an idea? Is it okay to disagree? Where do I fit in this group? All of these questions are talking about status management and the importance of safety in your business. So, as adults, we're obsessed with this. We want to feel safe and comfortable in their environments we work in, right? If we don't, if leaders have all the status and privilege in a business, what happens is they're kind of unapproachable. We feel like we can't bring them our ideas. We can't be candid when things aren't going right. We don't take risks because we're afraid of reprisals. And our opinions and ideas are just like, we keep them to ourselves, right? But businesses that have a good, strong culture have a do it with them versus a do it to them approach, right? They treat people with respect. They ask for their advice and their opinions, and they include those team members in decisions that impact them. And that's how we attract and retain talent, right? So, if you want a quick takeaway on how to make people feel safe in your business, the one thing is just make sure everyone has a voice. Never end a meeting without everyone on your team having spoken, and thank people for their contributions, no matter how big or how small. That's how everyone in your organization feels safe. They feel like they can ask questions, share an opinion, and when they can do that, powerful things start to happen in your business. Step 2 of Daniel Coyle in building a strong culture is to share vulnerability. So if I say the word vulnerability in front of body shop people, they all groan. I don't know why. They're like, "What is that? Don't talk to me about that. It's too touchy-feely." All I really mean by that is that the leader in a business is willing to admit their mistakes and or ask for help when they need it. So we all make mistakes. I think you can see in that meeting, our leader made a mistake in our team meeting, right? We all make mistakes and we all need help fixing them. But admitting that is a lot harder than it sounds, right? Every time we try something new, maybe we need advice on how to make it work. That's asking for help. Maybe we're just overwhelmed in our business and we need an extra set of hands to help get us through it. That's asking for help. When a leader can do that in front of their business, when they can share their weakness and vulnerability, then their teammates can put aside their insecurities and they can ask for help when they need it. But if we never have a vulnerable moment, then people try to cover up their mistakes, they cover up their weaknesses, they don't ask for help, and bad things start to happen in our businesses. So when we met for dinner that night, Mike started out our dinner with 4 very powerful words. 4 words that the Navy SEALs say work every time for them, and it worked for him. So he started our dinner off by saying, "I screwed that up. I screwed that up." For so long, I've been a one-man band, and now all of a sudden, I need to incorporate the opinions of my team. And your opinions matter. They're valuable opinions, and I need to know them so that we can move forward in our business. And it had immediately built trust with our team. It built trust with our new team members, and it restarted the conversation of what were we going to do next year? What were we going to tackle next year? It built a cohesive team. Which leads me to our final point from Daniel Coyle's The Culture Code, which is to talk about purpose. So what do I mean by purpose? It literally is a shared goal or a shared vision for an organization, but it includes two important things. Not only what you're going to do, but why you're doing it. Why you're doing it. That's important. So we talk to our CSRs all the time about, hey, you need to deliver extraordinary customer service. But why? Why? Maybe because we care about our customers. We want their lives to be better. We talk about our estimators and techs need to repair cars safely and properly. Yes, they do. Why? Because they're literally saving lives. That's why we do what we do. And if you can share your goals and your vision and why it's important to your team, then you've created a powerful tool that'll take you anywhere you want to go. So if you can remember to give everyone a voice, share vulnerability, ask for help, admit your weaknesses, and share that purpose with your team, then you'll be able to thrive and not just survive in your business. Thank you so much.